All right, guys, we'll go ahead and get started. I was hoping we'd have a really large crowd. We probably still will have hopefully a whole lot more join us this morning. We've got a really important topic, to discuss with everyone on campus. I'm Dr. Rosemary Cooper for those that I have not met, and we'll go around the room here in a second and, take care of introductions and all that good stuff. The importance of today's meeting is just to share with you guys, and we'll have this meeting recorded. We'll be able to share that out a little bit later, but to share with you guys the importance of hiring students on campus. They are our hands and feet here on campus. We know we rely on our student assistants a great deal to carry out the work of the university. And this also allows the students to have that hands-on experience that we all talk about all the time, the experiential learning. This kind of puts them right in that in the sweet spot for all of that. We can kind of guide and help them along the way. So it's really important. There's a lot to the process, and there are a lot of us. That's why so many are on the call. There are a lot of us that take part in this process. So real quick, if you would, Leah Velarde, our Director of Career Success, will be sharing a set of slides with you guys. And Leah will put that on the screen here in a second, and we'll go ahead and have you guys scan a QR code that will allow you to check in, if you will, as we want to have record of your attendance. And then after the meeting is over, we want to be sure and share the slide deck with you all. So if you would take a minute to scan that QR code on your screen. Is everybody able to see that, Leah? Are you able to see it? There we go. Okay, all right, there we go. And let us know if there's some issue with that, guys. We want to make sure, again, we have record of your attendance. So again, I'm Rosemary Cooper. I'm the Executive Director of Career Success here on campus. And we'll take a minute to go around the room and just have each of you guys introduce yourselves. We have representatives here from Human Resources, the Office of Financial Aid, and the Office of International Programs. So Leah, do you want to start and have our team introduce themselves?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Leah Velarde, and I'm the Director of Career Success. And then we have a phenomenal group of career success coaches on here also. And I'll just let them introduce themselves so they can tell you what college they're in, because they can also be a resource for some of the things that we're talking about today. So Amy, you're closest, so we'll start with you.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Amy Swindell, and I'm the Career Success Coach for the College of Arts and Sciences and for the College of Pharmacy. And it's great to be here. I need a refresher on this, so thanks for doing this, Rosemary.
Of course. We all do. We need a refresher every year. Yeah.
You know, I get questions every day and sit down with students every day to do internship and job searches, and a lot of them want to work on campus. And so this refresher is very, very timely for me. Thanks.
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Brian.
Yeah, my name is Brian Nouse. I'm the Career Success Coach in the Souls College of Business. So if you guys have any questions and you're one of our business-related faculty or anything along those lines, looking for a graduate assistant, something like that, let me know. Happy to have this conversation. I'll know just as much as everybody else does after today, but I do know the people who know more and can get your information to the right place if need be. So happy to work with y'all. Thank you.
Margot.
Hi, I'm Margot Purdy. I'm the Career Success Coach for the College of Engineering, and I just echo Amy and Brian. We're here to help, so please feel free to reach out.
And Gabby.
Hello guys, I'm Gabriela Vasquez, but you can call me Gabby. I'm the Career Success Coach here in School of Nursing and in the School of Health Professions. I do the exact same thing that my other 4 coaches do as well, but interesting thing about me is actually I started out as a student worker for Leah and Rosemary when I was getting my undergrad. So student employees have a special place in my heart.
And I don't see Pam on here, but she is our career success coach. Pamela Rodriguez is for the career success coach for College of Education and Psychology.
Okay, Lindsay, we can start with you.
Good morning. My name is Lindsay Clem. I'm an HR specialist in human resources, specializing in e-forms and part-time and student hiring.
Okay, great. Do we have Nathan on the call or Adam?
Good morning. I'm Adam Lambeth. I am the work study coordinator for the financial aid office. Try to make sure that we are adhering to, of course, the federal regulations, that all of our students are eligible and we are getting them paid out of the appropriate cost centers. So, yay.
Yes, yay. All right, and Cynthia?
Hi, everyone. My name is Cynthia Martinez. I'm the Executive Director for International Programs, and my section will cover employment for international students, the roles, the types of jobs, and how our office can help.
Great. And I want to, in a minute, we'll start with Leah sharing information about our particular area, the Office of Career Success. But I want to mention to you guys again that please allow our office to serve as a resource for your students. And what I mean by that is career development is what we do day in and day out. So if your students come to you seeking employment, but perhaps their resume is not quite up to snuff, right? Or maybe they just need some practice with the interviewing process, things like that. Please reach out to us. Let us help prepare those students to come and work with you. So I know Leah will mention that, but I just wanted to stress that to you guys to utilize what we have right here on campus and let us help if we can. All right, Leah, you want to start?
Yeah, so happy Tuesday. I know this is a super busy week for so many people. We're all getting ready for next week. So thank you for taking your time to hop on today. There are, even if you've posted jobs 100 times in Handshake, it actually, like within the last week or two, they've kind of updated a little bit the look. So it's kind of perfect timing for me to be able to talk about Handshake too, and just go through it one time with everyone. So Handshake is where we put all of our on-campus student employment jobs announcements for students to be able to apply to. So if you're new and you're like, where are those student jobs? They're all in Handshake. So first of all, I want to tell you just a little bit about Handshake. I'll keep this short and sweet. Like, what is Handshake if you're not familiar with it? How does Handshake help students? Because it's a lot more than just an online job board. It does a lot more, especially for our department. And then probably the most important thing is, how in the world do I post a job on Handshake? What are the steps? How hard is it? How hard is it to go in there? I'm going to walk you through all of those steps so you know it's not hard. So Handshake is the #1 college to career network that's out there. There's so many colleges and universities that use Handshake. Employers on one side, they like Handshake because they can post a job, you know, once and click, I want to post it to this school, this school, this school. So they have a lot more, they have a larger reach for their job opportunities. And then on the other hand, we love it because our students have an opportunity to see job opportunities that may not come right in front of us. But because we are on Handshake and we vet the employers on Handshake, the students get to see a lot of jobs that possibly they wouldn't see. So on Handshake, there's internships, there's part-time positions, student worker positions, full-time positions. And, you know, I was talking to one of our coaches this week, and I was telling them, or last week, I don't remember now which one, but I was like, you know, I think the thing that sometimes people miss about our office is we know that students can get jobs, you know, like, does a nursing student have to come to us to get a job? No, but like our goal is that for that student to get their dream job. So we can help like them take that next step. We don't want them to just get any job. We want them to get their dream job. So we love to help students, and Handshake is a great platform that we use to help students. So there's tons of things on Handshake. Not that you need to know any of this stuff, but I think if you're going to be in Handshake, it's a good background, kind of like, okay, what else do students see? So students make their appointments with their career success coach in Handshake. Like I talked earlier, there's job opportunities, there's internship opportunities, They can network with different employers. If they're like, hey, I'm really interested in this employer, like I'm really interested in Amazon, they can follow that employer and see every time they post jobs. All of our career fairs are in there. So if a student's like, I want to go to a career fair, which they should want to go to a career fair just in case. If they go to a career fair, you know, they can see before they come to the career fair, the whole list of employers that are going to be there. So when I say Handshake is very all-inclusive for us, it is, and it's very important for the students to get in there and explore. So a little bit about what the students see, and this is just information for you. If you're out and about, you run into a student and you're like, hey, they happen to ask you, you know, oh, I want a job. I'd love to work in your department. And you're like, okay, well, I think you should go to Handshake. Well, this is information you can give them. It's single sign-on, so they just need to sign in with their Patriot email and password, and they will have an account in there. So it shouldn't be anything that gets in their way or stops them from signing into Handshake. So single sign-on. We encourage them to fill out their profiles in Handshake. It looks a little bit like LinkedIn. It just helps you possibly as the person that's hiring the student, and definitely outside hiring, people that are hiring our students. We encourage them to browse all the jobs, to message employers directly. They can just do so many things in Handshake. So I say that too when you're talking to students, encourage them to get in there for more than just on-campus jobs. So most important thing, you know, I want to post a job in Handshake. How in the world do I post a job in Handshake? So number one thing is you have to create an account in Handshake on the employer side. So there's a couple of different sides to Handshake. There's a student side. So if you happen to be a student at the university and you're like, hold on, every time I open Handshake, it's my student account. Reach out to me and I can fix that for you real quick, and I can make sure you have a student and employer account. If you're not a student, you can just go, and like we said, we're going to share this PowerPoint with you guys at the end, so you'll have it. But you can just go to this link and you'll create your employer account. It automatically put you with UT Tyler. Obviously use your UT Tyler email address because that's how it does it. And then you will be able to post jobs. So let me switch real quick. Let me stop sharing this and I'm going to actually go to Handshake to show you how to post a job. Maybe. Okay, sorry. It's more complicated than it looks behind the scenes, just in case if you're like, hold on, get your life together. Now, okay, I have to find the right. Okay, here we go. Now, if you are in Handshake, is everybody good? Can everybody see my Handshake? Now that we're in Handshake. Okay, I'm going to go to the home page. So when you sign into Handshake for the first time, 50th time or whatever, this is the home page that you'll sign into. There's a lot of information on the page. The most important things that you need to know are about how to create a job. So if you're just like, I just want to jump right into it, you can just push this button and you can create a job. But I highly suggest, and I want to show you this first, if you go over to this left, whatever it's called, menu over here, and you click jobs. So one thing you'll notice if you haven't posted a job in a while, you'll notice that now in the past, when you open this, you would see 2,000, I mean, like tons of jobs, everybody's jobs on campus. Now they kind of filtered it. So they automatically, when you open it, they filter it to the jobs you own and the jobs that are active for you. So I have one job open right now, so that is active and, you know, see it. Now, some people ask me, well, so-and-so was in this position before me, and I know they posted a job, like I want to see that job. So you would just need to change your filter. So job owned by others. So that's going to bring up a lot of jobs. And then it's probably a closed position if it was in the past. So I would change that filter to closed, and then maybe you know their name or somehow you can find it or know the job title. The reason I show you that is because it's a whole lot easier once you find that job and you're like, but I want to say the same thing. It's a whole lot easier to go over here and actually duplicate that old job. Now, I'm not going to go into all that today, but it's very simple. It duplicates it and you can rechange, dates and whatever you need to change in it. But it also saves you a lot of time from having to start this from scratch. So highly suggest duplicating jobs. I will say, I'm going to go back to the jobs owned by me and my active one. Right here, if you need to, like you've hired your student, you can always come in here and just click these little 3 dots over here and close the job right here. Just so you know, because I have some questions usually about, oh, how do I close the job if I'm done with it? It's very easy to close it. That's one way, and that's the easiest way in my opinion. But let's say you're starting the job from, like, you just need to create a new job or you just need to start from scratch. You can go right here to that little create a job in the top right corner. And you're going to walk through, you're going to put your job description in. So hopefully you have a job description. I'm going to make up something. Well, okay. So you put your job description in. The reason I'm walking through this is because some people get confused on some of the answers and how you're supposed to answer things in here. You're going to put your job title. It might have made one up for you. It made this one up for me, so I'm going to keep that job title. Please, if you could push, if it's an on-campus job, please make sure you push on-campus student employment. And the reason is because like when students open up Handshake, there are so many jobs on Handshake. And one of the filters they can use, and we show them this, is on-campus student employment. So if it's on campus, go ahead and click that. That's very helpful. If it is work study, you're welcome to push that. If it's not, don't push that. If you don't know, you can talk to Adam but maybe he'll talk about that later.
And Leah, I wanted, excuse me just a second, I just wanted to add, if you would go back, you could, in your job description, if the position is for work study students only, or if work study students are eligible to apply, then please also indicate that in the job description, in the previous job description. That's really important. We kind of want to connect the dots. You put it there, and then you also click on that radio button there for work study program. That really kind of hits home with the student. They can see that they are eligible to apply for that position as a work study eligible student. So thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, super important. So more than likely it's going to be on site. So this has Tyler, Texas already. If you want to actually put the address, you can, but you can just leave Tyler, Texas. Part-time student worker jobs, and I know Lindsay will touch on this in a little while. Some of these things are optional, but I still encourage you to do it. It doesn't actually let you put 19.5, which is the max, so I just usually put 19. And another one, expected pay. I encourage people to put on it. There is an option that you don't have to. I usually encourage a range also, just because you don't know, but if it's just an exact amount, it's just an exact amount. You have to do what you have to do for yours. But for mine, I'm going to say $9 to $10. Not a big range, but hey. There's a lot of optional things here. Obviously, the students are not going to get benefits per se in most of the jobs, so I can't speak to every job, but not these type of medical benefits. Perks, you can add what you want to, but just remember, like, these are all optional, so you don't have to add anything. Categorize your job. So this is another one I get a lot of questions about. So there's a lot of different categories. Now, I will say, just for the sake of ease, if it is more of like an office job, there is I think it's administrative, look at me. Now, I seriously practiced this and I made sure I knew what it was, but I can't remember what it was now, but let me see if I put office will help. Yes, there we go. Office and administrative support workers. You can have more than one category. This is just for when a student is looking for a job. For my jobs, they're all office administrative type support workers.
And
So
I
that's
will
what I-
also say, this helps us when we're doing data pulls on the back end from Handshake. If these categories, if these fields are populated, it's very helpful to us. Because HR, between us and HR, we can pull important data that it kind of helps support some of our initiatives on campus and helps us understand how many student workers are on campus and what roles they're working. So just, if you could, I encourage everyone to complete each of the fields.
So on the work authorization, this job requires US work authorization. You can put that for all of yours, even if they're international students. And Cynthia can speak to this a little bit more when we get there, but they are, based on their visa, they're allowed to work on campus. So I just usually click this one and don't get into all of the rest of it. Skills, optional. Now this optional, the school year, so just know, if you clicked only freshman students would be able to see this job. Like I've had students come into my office and they're like, I only see, like a few jobs, and it's just because they were very specific on some of these optional things. So this one's the only one that I say, just if you only can have doctor students, obviously I understand, you want to put this, but if you are open to, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, you don't have to click anything, or you can click all of these. So just be cautious of that, because students can only see things they're eligible for. Latest graduation date, another optional thing. Major groups, you do not have to. I usually don't add any kind of stuff like this, just because, like I said, I don't want to be too specific on the optional, because I want to know, I want to have a good pool of students that can apply, and I can pick the best. Minimum GPA, that's obviously optional. Choose schools, because it was said it was an on-campus position, already populates that for me, the University of Texas at Tyler, so you don't need to do anything there. And then your application open date. So when do you want to open this application? When do you want to close this application? How many students are you going to hire for the position? How will the candidates submit their application? They will submit it to you on Handshake. And then you get to choose the things that you want them to submit. So do you want a resume? Do you want a cover letter? Do you want a transcript? A lot of times I click other and ask for their class schedule, because that helps me know that I'm able to cover the places that I need. So that's really important to me also. So I'll ask for this and other, please provide your class schedule for this semester. So you get to choose what you want. And then on this last page, you want to choose the division that you're in. If for some reason you don't see your division, it just helps, kind of what Rosemary was talking about earlier. When we pull things or we're trying to look up things, that's going to help us. Messaging availability, you can choose to have your information for the students to be able to message you if you want, totally up to you. And then you can also choose, how do you receive, like how do you know when a student applies? I mean, you can always hop into Handshake, but if you want to just get a summary email when the application period closes, you can click that. If you want to send an email when the candidate applies, and if you're in a hurry and you need to be on top of it, many times I've clicked this and I get them all, every time. And then I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. If you need somebody else to be watching for these applications coming in, or be able to get into this job announcement, you can add somebody. Just remember, they have to have an account in Handshake. So they have to have an account like you do, but you can then add them to here so they can be able to follow the job announcement. So then you'll review it, and then at the very bottom you'll post it, or you can save it as a draft, either way. I'm not going to do either because it's not necessary. Any questions? I know I went through that super fast, and I'm just so you know, I'm very happy anytime you have a question and you're like, hey, I've never done this before, anything like that, I'm super happy to answer for you in Handshake. But does anybody have any questions real quick first before I give it to Adam?
I do, Leah.
Yeah.
So when students come, a lot of times I'll see, we just open it up and look at all of them. And a lot of them are just titled student assistant, student assistant, student assistant. So when you put that department in there, does that pop up where we can see that? I was looking for that in what you just did, but I don't know that you could get back to it now, but, or should
So
it be in the job title?
So I mean, I personally, I think it's best if it's put in the job title. I put it the first word, career success student assistant, just to clarify. It should populate someplace, but I'd have to look at from the student side to see exactly what they're seeing. But it should, the division, I'm pretty sure it's at the top of the job application. I mean, the job announcement for the student. I'm pretty sure, but I can look and check on you for that. I just need to switch and look at the student side. Any
Okay,
other
any more questions? All right, Adam, I think you're up.
Okay, let me reshare.
Okay, good morning. I'm Adam Lambeth again. I'm the work study coordinator here in the financial aid office. What is work study? Work study is the federal and state programs that are need-based for students that need some more aid to get them through their college career. It is funded through state and federal programs. Let's see here. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to get through. All right. The main thing to remember with the work study program is, since it is need-based, that the students that you wish to hire do have to have remaining eligibility under their cost of attendance. They have to be enrolled at least half-time for the period in which we want to hire them, and they have to maintain satisfactory academic progress. So understanding that, work study eligibility can and does change on a payroll to payroll basis sometimes. So I go in and I look at all the payrolls. I go through each student. I load them into PeopleSoft, make sure that they are still active, still eligible. If for some reason something comes up, I will let you know as quickly as possible. Hey, this student has lost their eligibility. We need to transfer them over to something else. Let's see here. Students can work. The work study period begins on September the 1st for fall and spring. It goes through May the 31st. If a student, a worker, graduates either in December or in May, once they graduate, they're no longer eligible for work study. So if you have 4 students and one of those graduates, say on December 13th, that student is no longer eligible for work study after that date, but your other students are until December the 31st in that period. Summer work study works a little bit differently. If a student has remaining aid left over from their academic year, since we use summer as a trailer for the year, I can still work them during the summer period if they have remaining eligibility. It's pretty complicated, but it's not really. It looks much more intimidating than it actually is. The best way to make certain a student is eligible is just reach out to me. You can get a hold of me at financial aid at uttyler.edu, of course, or workstudy at uttyler.edu. There is an indicator that I load after every payroll in PeopleSoft for those of you that have access to the student profiles general information. If you look at their service indicators, it will show if they are work study eligible based on the last payroll. And I do that as quickly as possible after every time payroll is released. That's pretty much all I've got. I know that it once again is a little confusing. I am here to help you navigate it. Work study positions are special. They have special requirements for benefits, and as such, the work study positions have to be set up separately. So you can't just have an undergrad assistant, say, and pay them out of work study funds. You do have to have a separate position set up that indicates that that position is work study to make sure that the benefits and requirements are met separately. Once again, reach out to me. I'll look up your department. I will search to make sure that you do have work study positions open. If you don't, we will help you get set up with a position that you can place a student into. And that's
Adam,
pretty much, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question. Would you mind going over just real quick for all of us, how a student finds out if they are work study eligible? What do you guys share with the student as to their eligibility?
Well, most students will indicate on their FAFSA that they are interested in work study positions. That goes ahead and sets them up, makes the awards automatically in PeopleSoft. If a student does not know, then they can reach out to financial aid, or reach out to work study at TTU, or excuse me, UT Tyler, and I will go ahead and review them and let them know.
And their work study award is in their student center on their in their financial aid. They can see that listed. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. It's just like a regular loan. It shows up
Yes.
exactly the same way, and it will
Right.
even tell them if they're set up under federal or state work study. So,
Okay, very good. All right. Do we have a question out there?
I'm sure we have some, but
Let's see. Okay, no questions in chat. Anybody else with questions for Adam? Amy? Say it again, Amy. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. I guess your microphone's not working. Can you hear us? If you want to maybe put it in chat, maybe, if that would help.
right. The question is, do we have outside employers who are approved for work study positions? Right now, we don't. I am in the process of digging through the way those were set up in the past. That's kind of in mid process right now. Right now, we are geared towards students that are here on the main campus. I know that once the Health Sciences Center is rolled into UT Share, that they are going to be coming online at some point this year to where we can have student workers up there. Again, we are working right now on identifying what is needed as far as contracting goes to get outside employers set up, such as the Literacy Council, East Texas Food Bank. Those are two that we're looking at right now. But again, that is a work in progress, and hopefully it is a work in soon progress. I see a question here. Are grad students eligible for work-study monies? They are absolutely eligible as long as they have room under their cost of attendance for need-based aid. Their work-study makes no difference if they're undergrad or grad.
Okay, anybody else for Adam? All right, okay, so I guess, let's see. Go ahead, is there another one? Okay, all right, I guess Cynthia?
Sure, thank you. And so again, my name is Cynthia Martinez. I'm the Executive Director for the Office of International Programs, and I'm going to go over some of the rules regarding international students and what we need to do to hire them on our campus. Do I have control over? Okay, it's fine. There we go. All right. So an international student's eligibility to work in the US, I know there was a question on Handshake that says this job requires US work authorization. For if it is an on-campus job and you're filling out that form, I would recommend that you select that box. An international student with a valid I-20 is eligible for work in the US on campus. So as long as a student is maintaining status, that is their, oops, sorry about that. That is their eligibility to work in the US. So for a student that is transferring to our institution or is in the US for the very first time, they can begin working in the US up to 30 days before the school session starts. While they are our students, they can only work on our campus. There are other employment benefits for the students, but for this session, since we're only talking about on campus, I'm not going to go into detail over the other ones, but while they are our student enrolling classes, they can work on campus. This also includes working on campus for, let's say, Sodexo or Starbucks, as long as it is a direct service to our students. So they're able to do that. If you're not familiar with an I-20 document, the I-20 document is just a document that says who the student is, what program they're studying. That is a document that is issued through our office, and that is what makes the student eligible to work on campus. So even if they have an expired visa or things like that, they are still eligible as long as that I-20 document is valid. Another thing that we've heard a lot regarding international students is their social security number. So we are all, anybody who's a US citizen, we're all issued social security numbers when we're very young, but our students are not issued social security numbers just because they arrive in the US. And so they have to secure a job on campus in order for us to move forward with supporting their application for a social security number. And so the current process at the moment is the student has to first secure a job on campus, and then their human resources, I guess we'll talk about the process and what it looks like in the background, but we will not move forward until human resources sends us a notification. Once we receive that notification from HR, then we will create that Social Security letter for the student. And then we also provide instructions to the students on how they apply for a Social Security number, because what we provide is just the letter that supports and says, yes, the student has secured employment at UT Tyler, and this is what they're going to be doing, and they're going to be working part-time. But then they have to actually physically go to the Social Security Administration office and apply for the Social Security number. While the Social Security number is pending, they can start their employment at the university, but they have to apply for the Social Security number. Every now and then we have students that never pick up our letter, and then they're working, and then we have to hunt them down. But they're pretty good about coming to pick up the letter in our office. Another thing that we run into a lot is some students will come into our office and say, I need a Social Security letter because I need to apply for my apartment, or I need to open up a bank account, or for a rental property or things like that. We cannot issue a social security letter for anything other than just employment. If you ever come across a student that needs to open up a bank account and they're requesting a social security number, we always refer students to go to Chase, because Chase does not require a social security number. They just need to have a valid passport on them. So just tip for that. But for anything else, we cannot issue. It has to 100% always be for employment. Now, once they obtain that social security number, then the student can use it to apply for a credit card or to apply for a loan or license or anything like that. And then also that number sticks with them all the time. So it's with them for the entire duration of their program here at UT Tyler. Even if they transfer in from another institution and they had a social security number at the previous school, it is going to be the same thing, the same number. So because we do have all of these campuses, the students can participate in employment in any of these campuses. So for example, if we have a student here on main campus, but they found employment at the Health Science Center, they're able to participate in that employment. Same thing with Longview and the other campuses. So for an F1 student to maintain employment, some of the employment related guidelines is they can work at any qualifying on-campus job, like I said, as long as it is a UT Tyler office or a third-party company like the bookstore, Starbucks, and Sodexo. And while school is in session, which is every fall and spring, the students can work only 19.5 hours. They cannot go over those hours. The only ones that can work up to 20 hours are the GTAs and the GRAs. When school is not in session, the students can work more than full-time. However, we always tell the students, because they'll come by our office during the summer and say, I can work full-time, right? And we'll say, the guidelines say yes. However, you need to speak to your academic department, because not every academic department has the budget to pay the students full-time. We've had students in the past that go to their department and say, OIP said that I can work full-time, so now you have to pay me full-time. And so that's not the case. And so we want to make sure, we communicate the exact same information to the students. And then I think HR can touch on this, but I know that if they work for 12 weeks consecutively at full-time for 12 weeks, then they become benefits eligible. And so we don't want that. I don't know if it's 12 weeks or a little bit more than that, but I do know that there is a limit on that. So we want to be very careful with that. Let me go to the next slide. All right, so similar to work study, a student can only work on campus while the student is enrolled here at UT Tyler. If a student graduates, let's say this fall semester in December, and the official end date of the fall semester is December 13th, then that is the absolute last day that the student can work on campus. They cannot work beyond that date. The only time that they can work beyond that date is if, let's say, a student graduates in May, but then is going to continue with our institution, let's say with the graduate program, and they have received their new I-20 for the new academic program. They graduated in May, they have the new I-20 for the new program that starts in fall, then they can work during the summer. But if a student graduates and is no longer going to be enrolled at UT Tyler, they cannot work past the official program end date of the semester. Also, if a student transfers from our institution to another institution, then that work authorization also expires. If they want to work beyond their graduation, then they need to come to our office and they need to apply for what we call optional practical training, OPT. But when they do apply for OPT, their employment has to be directly related to their program of study. So it's very different from just regular on-campus job, because an on-campus job, they can work pretty much at any office here at the university. It doesn't necessarily have to be directly related to their program of study. But through the other work authorization, OPT, it does have to be directly related to their program of study. So if they were working at Sodexo and, I don't know, Chick-fil-A, and they're a computer science major, well, after they graduate and they have the OPT authorization, they cannot work there because it's not directly related to their program of study. So those are just some of the limitations and the expiration on on-campus employment eligibility. Any questions on students, international students, Social Security, or anything like that? Okay, if there are any questions, you can reach out to me directly or to our office email. Our office email is oip@uttyler.edu, or just my email, the longest email on campus, I think. It's cynthiamartinez@uttyler.edu.
Right, thank you, Cynthia. All right, Lindsay.
Before we move on, I think a question just popped up in the chat.
Oh, okay, great.
So that's a great question. So for OPT authorization, does the employment need to be in the industry or job specific? Yes. So if a student is a finance major, then yes, it has to be directly related to their program of study. We do communicate this information to students. They strongly encourage us not to say yes or no to a student, whether a job is directly related or not. Our job is to inform the student and let them make that assessment. What I always tell my students is, if you had a USCIS officer come to you and ask you, how is this job related to your program of study at UT Tyler? And you're able to answer that confidently without any hesitation, and you absolutely know without a doubt that it is related, then maybe the answer is yes. But if you're having trouble connecting the two, then maybe perhaps that's not the job. And we cannot tell them no, but we can only give them the information, and we hope that they make the right decision when choosing employment. To be completely honest, we haven't had any issues with students not connecting it correctly. So I think we communicate that information and we stress it enough. Also, because of everything that's happening right now with our current administration and the revocation of some visas, now is not the time to not make sure that now is the time to absolutely 100% make sure that the job is directly related to their program of study. We don't want them to risk anything.
Rosemary,
thank you,
you're talking, you're
Cynthia.
on mute.
Go ahead, Lindsay, go ahead.
Okay, just making sure. Okay, good morning again. My name is Lindsay Clem. As a reminder, I'm part of the team here in HR that handles e-forms, mostly almost everyone that comes through, including the hiring of student workers. So first, here's a quick overview of the student e-form and hiring process in regards to HR and what I'm about to go over in a little more detail. So first, you guys as the admins will submit the appointment e-form. We do ask that that is submitted at least 2 weeks prior to the preferred start date, as we do need time for processing, which is what I'm about to go through a little more. Next, once the e-form arrives in the HR queue, HR will then research the student, see their new hire, rehire, what requirements they need, and we will email the employee to notify them of their pre-employment requirements specific to that employee. Next, once the employee satisfies all their pre-employment requirements, which includes a criminal background check and completing the Form I-9, then they receive that final approval from us here in HR, which we do copy the admin and supervisor. By admin, we always do whoever submitted the e-form. So unless we just happen to know off the top of our head, like, oh, this person also works with this supervisor, it's always the submitter and the supervisor get copied on that email once the employee is approved to work. So first, I would just want to go over some general information regarding student appointments. First, employees must currently be enrolled at least half-time to hold a student appointment. Like with financial aid, once a student graduates, they're no longer eligible to hold a student title. Next, the positions reports to supervisor is responsible for approving the timesheets. And last, as we talked about earlier, if the employee is a work study student, please partner with the financial aid department to make sure they're eligible before starting that hiring process. Next, as I said earlier, HR does not begin processing the pre-employment requirements until the e-form arrives in our queue. That's why we ask for it to be to us about 2 weeks in advance to give us plenty of time to do that, especially right now with the amount of students that are coming onto campus and wanting to work. Once those pre-employment requirements are complete, HR will approve the e-form, and if any changes need to be made, when you get that email, you'll see that we've put the start date. Either if we're able to approve the e-form in advance, it'll be the start date that you chose, or if something happens and it's behind, whether that's it was submitted late or the student took their time or we just got a little behind here in HR, then that date might be adjusted a little bit. So always keep in mind that date that we put on the email. And then last, students cannot begin working until they have received that approval email from HR. Employees working unapproved puts the university at risk due to compliance issues. So for multiple appointments, we just ask that you confirm with the student if they are or will be working for another department on campus. We see a lot when a department is hiring a student and they're using that full 19 and a half hours, they're ready to go. And then it gets to HR, we're like, did you know they're also working over there? So try to ask the students that up front, because for some reason, a lot of times they don't just share that information. So if you try to ask them, that keeps it timely for everybody. Also, a student employee cannot be in 2 different pay groups at once. The biggest example I have of this is a graduate research or graduate teaching assistant is an exempt monthly position, whereas a graduate assistant or an undergrad assistant is a non-exempt semi-monthly position. You cannot do both of those at once without express approval. And then last, that 19 and a half hours, students cannot exceed that. Once again, if you have questions with how many hours is the student working, do they have something else, you can always feel free to contact us here in HR to double check that for you. And the only exception to that is that GTA GRA tuition waiver that's specific to graduate and above level teaching and research assistants. For the summer full-time appointments where they are allowed to go over that 19 and a half hours, as Cynthia said, HR also does direct students to the department because it is the department that determines if they have the funding for that, if they want to track that, if they want to risk that, hey, if the student goes overtime, you have to pay them overtime, all those things. So we do also try to push that responsibility towards the department, and we do send the students there. And that is especially because of that 12 weeks, once you get past 12 weeks, students do become benefits eligible. So this slide and the next just shows a general description of duties for each student type, since I know it's being sent out. This will just aid you in choosing the correct title for your student hires. This first slide shows the student titles that are on the semi-monthly payroll, which will be undergrad assistants, undergrad research assistants, those work study students, and graduate assistants. And then this slide is those that fall under the monthly payroll. This includes both graduate and doctoral level teaching or research assistants. And this also includes those who are a teaching assistant and the instructor of record. Once again, these are just general descriptions of duties for each student type to assist you in choosing the correct title for each of your student hires. So once you know what you want to do with the student and you got their appointment submitted and it's come to HR, what even gets sent to the candidate? So we have a copy here of what's sent to the candidate, which is an email with their pre-employment requirements and the following attachments. A criminal background check link will always be sent, and we do try to attach those to the email in case their email has already sent it to spam. And then when applicable, they will receive a campus map and list of acceptable I-9 documentation if they need to bring that in. So to get that student authorized, once they've received that pre-employment email, To obtain approval, keep the university in compliance, and avoid hefty fines, the following must be completed on or prior to the student's start date. The criminal background check, section 1 of the Form I-9, and the student must present unexpired original employment authorization documentation. For employees being rehired, such as they've just had a break in service, or they went home over the summer, etc., documentation on file with HR may be used to fulfill this requirement. However, please be advised that section 1 will always be required, and the email that the student receives will tell them either do section 1 and you do not have to bring in your documents, or you will have to bring in your documents. If they worked here before and they're like, well, why am I still needing to bring in my documents? Most likely what we have on file has expired.
Lindsay, can you tell us those unexpired employment documentation? What does that include? Is it like the social security card? What are some of those documents that you guys accept?
Yes, so we put a list on the email for the students who need those, but what that's going to be is it has 3 sections on it, 3 lists. So there's list A, which is just one document that proves both their identity and authorization to work. So like a passport, you have to turn in a birth certificate and a driver's license to get a passport. So therefore that does both in one. Or for international students, they will need often a passport, their I-94 and their I-20 that Cynthia talked about. And that is because the passport confirms their identity. The I-94 confirms basically that they're here legally in the US. And then the I-20 confirms that they are allowed to work because they are a student.
Okay.
So
Alright,
that's
great.
what those are, and that's sent on the email.
Right. Very good. Thank
Thank you. That was a great question. So criminal background check, pretty self-explanatory. I just wanted to take a moment to talk about that Form I-9. The Form I-9 is used for verifying the identity and employment authorization of individuals hired for employment within the United States. This is a federal statute, so not a school thing, not an HR thing, federal thing, which simply means that every employer must verify that each employee they're hiring is eligible to work. So that is, like I said, whether turning in something such as passport that proves your citizenship, or simply work eligibility based on a student's visa or another type of visa. And then Rosemary, with your question, I mentioned the list A document. The other alternative to that is to turn in a list B and a list C document. So that can be like school ID, driver's license, state ID, coupled with, because that verifies their identity, coupled with something that verifies their eligibility to work, which for citizens would be like your social security card, birth certificate, something like that. It does have to be, like it says, original unexpired documentation. No pictures can be accepted. So if a student is like, well, I live 4 hours away, how am I supposed to get that? We often let them know. Sometimes they can like have their parents meet them halfway. That's what I had to do when I was in school. Or some parents are willing to mail it, like overnight it, so they can get to work as quickly as possible. We've seen some students do that. And then honestly, they can always just go, if they were born in Texas, they can go up to NetHealth, or anyone who's a citizen can just go to Social Security Administration and get another copy. It doesn't invalidate their last copy. It just gets them a second copy. And that way, then they also have their own to take care of, and we can get them working faster. But unfortunately, we cannot accept pictures. But just so y'all know, with that I-9, it is the employee's responsibility to complete that section 1 online on or before their hire date, and then also to present that documentation with that list. The employer responsibility is to notify them that that I-9 is required, which we do on the email. And then we have a section 2 where we have to go and list the documents that are presented and verify those and attest that we have verified those. And we must do that within 3 days of their date of hire. So that's why we're so strict about that, try to get it on the first day. That's why we adjust start dates as needed for those semi-monthly employees. And that's why we say you cannot work Students cannot work without that being approved because of the fact that those are huge monetary fines, like over $1,000 per person if it's not done within those 3 business days. So, and then last, Cynthia reminded me, for those students who need a social security number, there's a box on the I-9, it says SSN applied for. And whenever they ask us, we'll let them know they just check that box. And that's what lets us know to initiate that process with OIP. And the way that that works is that the student applies for the job, they get the job, they do all their stuff with HR. And then we send an email to OIP letting them know, like, hey, the student has applied, they're ready, they've done everything they need to do. And OIP will send those instructions to the student. From what I remember, Cynthia can definitely correct me if I'm wrong, they'll need a letter from OIP, an application, and a job description or offer letter. That is provided by the department, not by HR. So we do have a lot of students come back to us being like, oh, wait, I need an offer letter to go get my social. HR does not provide that. That does come from you guys, but that doesn't happen until y'all get that approved to work email from us, because that means we have also notified OIP.
Yeah, I just want to chime in, Lindsay. Yes, that's correct. The documents that you mentioned.
Okay, thank you. And then last, once we do get all that done and get them approved, what do they get then? What happens then? We send them their credentials, which is their employee ID number, along with instructions to contact IT to set up their email address. HR does not provide that. That'll come from IT. And then also we do let them know due 30 days from their start date. So like right now we have a lot of GTAs and GRAs who aren't supposed to start until 9/1 who are asking us about this. These 2 things are not available until their start date, and that is the onboarding tile. That's where they do their direct deposit, their W-4, and just some other HR needed forms. And then their compliance training that everyone has to do yearly through our Skillsoft Percipio platform. So those are the things that are sent to the employee with that approval to work that, like I said, the supervisor and admin will be copied on. And then last, this is just a slide reminding you guys that if you ever need to reach us, you're welcome to contact us individually or at eForms at uttyler.edu, and also a link to our HR website, which we are working on updating more and more every day right now, with plenty of resources, including how to do some eForms, how to know which eForm type to use, and that chart of student titles will all be available on our website.
Okay, great. Thank you, Lindsay. Any questions specifically for Lindsay? Anything else? You guys have done a great job. Thank you so much. This last slide here, guys, is just again, we'll send it out to you guys, but just a quick snapshot of the contact email addresses for us all. But again, I can speak for Career Success. You've got contacts within each of the academic areas. The career coaches are a first stop for you if you have questions about this process. Also, I wanted to mention, while Lindsay and HR have an onboarding, a piece of the onboarding responsibility with the compliance training and things like that, I encourage each of you, if you don't already have onboarding, an actual training process in place for your student employees, please consider producing something for those students. I can speak for our area, not all offices do this, but we typically have a 2-week training period. This includes training documentation. And if you don't have it, it's quite all right. You can start it at any time, but just think of it in terms of a big investment now. If you go ahead and create a training document for these students, as turnover takes place and happens, which is expected, you have something for those new students to come in and read and take a look at that will help them get familiar with your area. And some of the basics that we've seen as professionals in the career development world is just the workforce expectations in general, everything from professional dress to how to shake someone's hand, how to greet our customers in an office setting, things like that. So just we count on you to do that for our students. That's part of this experiential learning process. I can say this for myself, these are all kids to me for the most part. And so, I want us to use our age and wisdom and things like that to impart some really good information to them and kind of, help show them how to function in a professional environment. So if you don't already have an onboarding process in place, I encourage you to get started, even if it's just very simple instructions, get started somewhere and hang on to that information so you can show your next student employees. So, do we have any questions for the group? Anybody think of anything else that we did not cover? All right, another easy crowd. Well, we will, we've recorded this meeting. We'll also send out the PowerPoint slides to you guys. And please be sure to reach out to us if you have questions. We're happy to go over, handshake with you, in detail, step by step, if that's new to you. But again, reach out to us, let us, utilize the resources you have here on campus. And thank you all for, being with us today. We certainly do appreciate it.